but I'm not sure whether you actually know what is Durga Puja, who is Durga? Yeah, I thought so. So, let me just touch upon the mythology very briefly. Durga is regarded as a mother goddess Durga, alright? And there's a huge website about mother goddesses, goddesses especially. So I'll invite you to go into Google and look at Wikipedia. There's an enormous amount of materials in it, as far as the mythology is concerned, and as far as the popular culture of Durga Puja as we perceive in today's time. Durga, well, it's a Sanskrit, in Sanskrit it means invincible. So she was a super goddess with enormous power, fighting power that is. So how it all came about, very briefly, to go into the mythology sides of things. In Hinduism, the pantheon of gods and goddesses has a parallel to the pantheons of gods and goddesses in Greece. So there's a similarity. There's enormous numbers of gods and goddesses in the pantheon. So once upon a time, the peace in the heaven was broken, and they were disturbed by a king who was a baddie, if you like, a demon king, Ashura. So all the deities, they went to the three supreme gods, Trinity as we call them, Brahma, Vishnu, and Lord Shiva. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer. The deities went to them and said, look, we are being killed and maimed by this monster, do something. So they created a new goddess. Well, why goddess, I don't know. They could have created a god, perhaps. But we are lucky that they created Durga after all. That's what we're talking about here. So, those Trinity, those three super gods, created goddess Durga. And they gave her 10 hands, as we have seen in all those images, and some of it you can see partly there. And they endowed those 10 hands with different items. Some of them are weapons, some of them are non-weapons. All of these items has symbolism in the tenets of Hinduism. And I don't have time to go through with all those in details. So now, Goddess Durga was ready to fight the king Ashura. So the fight began, and she eventually won. And she slayed the demon king. So she became a primordial, supreme cosmic power and energy, and she was revered all over the world, especially in the Hindu world. And her puja started. It started centuries ago, since the medieval time. Became very popular in India from the 15th, 16th century. So, that is in brief the story behind it. So it's a fight between good and evil, and how Durga, the concept of Durga, came into being. So that's the mythological side of things. And as Nilim has touched upon how it's celebrated in India, the puja or the worship during the autumn every year. Now in India, it's celebrated with slight variations from region to region. Like the war actually took place over 9 nights, and this is called Navratri, and this is observed in Gujarat. They celebrate all the 9 nights, the victory, the war, culminating into the final victory day, or Dasera, or Dasmi as we call it. If you go to North India, they celebrate mostly the final day, the victory day, or Dasera as it is known in North of India. In Bengal, the people celebrate it for 5 days. Now there is a slight difference. We move away in Bengal from the mythological side of things to associate her more closely in a psychosocial manner. We assume that she's the daughter of Bengal. And she's coming down from the Himalayas with her 4 kids, living behind her husband, consort Lord Shiva. And we eagerly wait every year to receive her. And she's worshipped. There's a huge celebration. It's like Christmas. We buy new clothes, people exchange as gifts, feasting, eating, arts, culture, everything goes on around it. And as Nilim has said, it's a huge carnival type of atmosphere if you go to Calcutta during those days in the autumn time. It's a bit like carnival in Rio, if you like. And it's getting huge and huge every year with lots of corporate monies are coming in and, Anyway, now during those 5 days, the people of Bengal, they worship her. Eventually, when the final day comes, the Bijaya Dashmi, as we call it, and that's the victory day when she actually slayed the demon. Now we feel very sad because the people of Bengal, as I said, and on the final day now, she will go back to her husband's place. So everybody feels very sad. But at the same time, we celebrate her victory over the Ashura. So she is fared well, and the lady folks, they celebrate with the red pigment called sindoor or vermilion. The men folk, they embrace each other and wish each other good luck and better life for the next 12 months. And then she's gone. We all feel very sad, as I said, but she's actually immersed in the Ganges. And that's the end of the ritualistic side of things. During the puja, there's a priest who chants all the mantras. Now that comes from the ancient part of Hinduism, and those are depicted in the scriptures. So those mantras are told by the priest, and we repeat them, and we give our obeisance to Goddess Durga. So that's, in short, really, the popular side of the stories. Now, I'll just give you a brief input about another avatar of Goddess Durga, and she's called Mother Goddess Tara. Now, I'm not sure how many of you actually heard about her. There's an enormous material on the internet on her. Once upon a time in the ancient time, and Tara is, as I said, she's also another name for Durga. Durga had at least 108 different names. Now, Tara was worshipped across the world, not just in the subcontinent, in Europe, in Scandinavia, in Ireland. There's a hill called Tara Hill in Ireland. Many of the Irish girls have their first name as Tara, like Tara Fitzgerald, for example. So you can imagine in those ancient times how people were united and they worshipped the same Mother Goddess, and we were all equal. Right. I'll just finish off the talk now by repeating a mantra, as I said, which we usually chant. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Matri Rupeno Samastita. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shakti Rupeno Samastita. Ya Devi Sarva Bhuteshu Shanti Rupeno Samastita. Namastashvai, 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 Namo Namaha. What it means, and I translate that. The goddess who is omnipresent as a personification of universal mother. The goddess who is omnipresent as the embodiment of power. The goddess who is omnipresent as a symbol of peace. I bow to her, I bow to her, I bow to her. Thank you.